The Hitch-Hiker is a film noir picture released in 1953. The film was directed by Ida Lupino and was the first film noir to be directed by a woman. Lupino directed a number of films including The Trouble with Angels and The Bigamist. She was also prolific as a director for TV series, having directed episodes of The Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Gilligan's Island. The three stars of the film are Edmund O'Brien, who is best known for winning an Oscar for his performance in The Barefoot Contessa in 1954, a year after The Hitchhiker was released; Frank Lovejoy, who acted in various supporting roles of the 1940s and 1950s, as well as starring in the radio drama Nightbeat. Finally, William Talman, who starred in a number of films from the late 40s to the late 60s, but is best known for playing Hamilton Burger in the TV series Perry Mason. The Hitchhiker is a fictionalised account of Billy Cook's murder spree. Cook was a spree killer who murdered 6 people, including a family of 5, in a 22-day period between Missouri and California from December 1950 and January 1951. Cook was caught, found guilty and executed by gas chamber in 1952 at the age of just 23. As the film starts, we see the silhouette of a man gesturing to hitchhike by putting his thumb up and then getting picked up by numerous people in their cars, who he subsequently robs and kills. Next, we are shown a series of newspaper articles detailing the crimes and warning people of the hitchhiker killer, along with his picture and name, Emmett Myers. Then we are introduced to Roy Collins, a garage owner, and draftsman Gilbert Bowen, 2 old friends who are driving south to the Mexican town of San Felipe for a weeks-long fishing trip holiday. However, just south of Mexicali in the Mexican state of Baja California, they pick up Myers. After a brief conversation, Myers pulls a gun on them and takes them hostage. What follows is ranked as one of the most heart-pounding films of all time by the American Film Institute. The first positive for me is the backdrop to the film. The scenery is stunning throughout as we traverse long and isolated stretches of road throughout the film's runtime. The film was shot in 2 locations in California, Alabama Hills and Big Pine. As there is so much emphasis on the scenery throughout, with many shots of the exterior of the car travelling along these roads, for me the landscape becomes a character in itself. As we can see, the terrain is inhospitable to human life should the 2 protagonists escape due to the high temperatures, lack of resources to survive, and no human population able to help them. This increases the tension further as to escape their ordeal from Myers, both Collins and Bowen have to be smart and strategic to escape from their captor's clutches. That's why we root for them. Next, the performance is all round a first class. Although we know little about the 2 protagonists, Roy Collins and Gilbert Bowen, we root for their survival, as they are just 2 ordinary guys wanting to go on a fishing holiday and unwind. Emmett Myers, on the other hand, shows no redeeming qualities at all. In the opening scenes we see what Myers is capable of, and he shows no remorse for his actions. He also enjoys tormenting Collins and Bowen throughout, forcing them to shoot cans dangerously close to where the other is standing. We also see him show only hostility and no warmth to others he interacts with, such as various shop owners as well as a young girl. Myers' depth to depravity sinks even lower when he shoots a dog for barking and displays no regrets. Next, the soundtrack is very effective throughout, as it manages to build tension and ensure critical moments in the film are enhanced by creating a sense of dread. The music was composed by Leith Stevens, who is best known for his scores on alien invasion films such as When Worlds Collide and The War of the Worlds, both in the early 50s. Stevens also collaborated with Ida Lupino, the director of The Hitchhiker, in another film released in 1953, The Bigamist. He was also nominated for an Oscar on 3 occasions for Best Music, firstly in 1957 for Julie, 1960 for 5 Pennies, and in 1964 for A New Kind of Love. Finally, although I personally have no background in law enforcement, I find the response of the police and subsequent investigation to be quite realistic in its efforts to apprehend Myers. Often in films, characters make stupid decisions that help the plot of the film progress. However, in The Hitchhiker, I think it does a remarkable job in keeping the plot grounded and progress the story in what feels like a realistic way. And it also makes you think, if I was in that situation, what would I do? The actions of law enforcement, The antagonist Myers and the two protagonists throughout the runtime make sense in the situations that they find themselves in. The only negative for me, and it is only a small gripe, is that the ending is quite abrupt. Throughout the film's runtime we are not given a moment to breathe, and tension is built up and maintained fantastically well, but the finale is wrapped up very quickly, and although satisfying, I wish it was built up more and the film slightly longer to accommodate this. In the film's defence, however, films at the time often wrapped up quickly to maintain an efficient runtime, often around the an hour and a half mark. So the abrupt ending is just a product of its time. While researching for this review, I found few sources indicating the budget for The Hitch-Hiker, and none whatsoever for the film's box office returns. Although most sources state the film as low budget, only two put out figures. A film essay for The Hitch-Hiker in the Library of Congress stated that the budget was just north of $100,000, whereas a film review on the website Senses of Cinema by Stephen Gaunson, published in 2018, stated that the budget was $200,000. The critical reception of The Hitch-Hiker on initial release was mixed, whereas in the present day it is generally viewed in a more positive light. Time Out Film Guide wrote, "It's a gem, with first-class performances from its three protagonists, deftly characterised without resorting to clichés." Mike D'Angelo, writing for The Dissolve, wrote, "Lupino's stripped-down approach makes for a compelling exercise in weather-beaten existentialism," whereas A.H. Weiler of the New York Times, although praising the performances and the film's brisk pace, criticised the plot, describing it as excessively predictable. The public's response to The Hitch-Hiker is generally positive, with a 6.9 rating on IMDb from just over 8,000 people, whereas on Rotten Tomatoes the film currently has a 61% audience score from over 1,000 ratings. Overall, I would highly recommend giving The Hitch-Hiker a watch. For me, it is an underrated gem, with an intriguing plot, a superb cast, and an excellent soundtrack. The film is also compacted into an efficient runtime of just 70 minutes, containing no slow moments, and also managing to maintain tension throughout. This film is the original in containing hitchhiker killers, which has become popular with the release of the highly acclaimed The Hitcher in 1986. And there was also a direct-to-DVD sequel released in 2003 and a remake released in 2007 starring Sean Bean. The Hitch-Hiker is currently, as of recording, available to watch on Amazon Prime, at least in the UK, and for me at least, it's well worth your time. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.